So in this video, we're going to be talking about a weight shift versus a pressure shift in the backswing and which one of those is going to improve your ball striking the best. So I'm Jonathan Chan with JChownGolf. Let's dive right into it. Now, let's dive straight into it. A weight shift in the backswing, which is where the weight of your body is getting into and loading into your trail leg as you go back. We might see a player who does this really have a little bit of a lateral move going into their trail side to the top of the backswing. Now, pressure shift is where we see a player is getting their pressure and turning with that pressure, getting it into the trail heel at the top of the backswing. So we might even see, let's say if there was like a wall right here, the player might create a bigger gap on their trail side than they would do if they shifted their weight, where that might give the illusion that they're keeping their weight on their left side as they're turning back, but they are more shifting their pressure into their trail heel, which keeps the body more centered on top of the golf ball. So guys, just a little break in the video here just to tell you that the ultimate guide to rotation and downswing, I put it on sale. So if you haven't already picked it up, now is the perfect time. So you need to download the SKILLEST app, and then next online lessons on the app, there's the more button, click on that, click on online lessons, and there the course is. So the complete guide to rotation and downswing. Everything you want to know to be able to get more rotation into your golf swing is in there. Way more in depth than I could possibly ever make a YouTube video for. Very useful information to have. So it's on sale. If you haven't got it already, now's the time. So a weight shift in the backswing. Now, me as a coach, I'm not a massive fan of the weight shift in the backswing. And why that is because if I'm a player who has and loads this weight into the trail leg going in the backswing there, what I'll generally see is a player moving off their center in the backswing. Now, when I see a player move off their center, I know they're going to be very inconsistent with getting good struck iron shots. So why that is because when you move back off the golf ball and you're trying to get all your weight into this trail leg, we know to be able to get a good struck iron shot, we want the lowest point of our swing to be after the golf ball so we can hit ball and turf. But to be able to get the low point forward, we need our body, middle of our body being slightly in front of the golf ball with the belt buckle, the chest. Of course, we still want that head preferably on the center there to be able to hit ball, then turf, get that low point forward. But if we've moved all the way off the golf ball here to get that weight loading into that trail side, we've got a lot of distance we've got to make up for to get ourselves back in front of that golf ball again. So when we've got a lot of distance to travel going back there, it's generally not going to be a consistent move to do in a round of golf. We might be able to time it up well. Sure, sometimes we'll get really good ones. But other times, as you're going to see with how wet my mat is at the moment, you'll see massively chunked shots. You might see thin shots. Might even on the worst occasions, if the weight hangs back massively and the player really doesn't time back up their shift back again, you'll see a top shot. So ultimately for me as a coach, I just don't see that as a consistent move to do for the vast majority of players. Definitely can be some players out there that can time that up great. There are some players on tour who time that up quite great. So you can do it. Your skill level as a golfer needs to be exceptionally high. Now, you can gain a lot of distance from that. You can hit the ball a little bit further, adding in a little bit more lateral force in your swing. So it's another way you interact with the ground. That will give you a tiny bit more distance in there. But it's not really going to help you too much if you're hitting the ball really inconsistent with your strike. There's more efficient ways for average golfers out there to be able to hit the ball a little bit better and a little bit further as well. So pressure shifting. Now, pressure shifting, I much more prefer as a coach because it gets people, one, hitting the ball a little bit more solidly, more consistently, and two, have a more efficient distance in there. They have to do less, but hit the ball further. Good combination there. So pressure shifting, we see people's pressure here going into the trail heel in the backswing. So for a right-handed golfer, that'll be into your right heel as you're turning up. So how that happens is golfers will be utilizing more hip turn. So the better you turn your hips, the more your pressure, you could even say weight, will actually go into your trail heel and not so much laterally. So you could almost call this hip slide versus hip turn. It's also another way of viewing this. So the more I turn those hips, what's going to happen? Pressure's going to go into the trail heel. I'm still getting my weight across, but it's going into just a different area of my foot, which is keeping me more centered as I turn. So we know if I stay more centered as I turn there, that's going to result in better contact shots, because I have to then travel less to get in front of that golf ball with the middle of my body for the low point to get forward. So better struck golf shots. And also I'm getting more physical turn. So I'm going to be utilizing more of my backswing rotation, coiling up more, which is going to end up hitting the ball further without having to rely on massive movements laterally to be able to make that up if we're not turning. So like I said, better shots, better struck shots, have to move less to cover that golf ball, get in front of it. And as well, longer shots, because you're utilizing better rotation, easier rotation as well. Doing it with the hips is easier for more people to do than the shoulders. So guys, let's talk about a great drill to be able to shift your pressure versus shifting your weight. So how I like to work on this is with a training aid called the swing plate. Swing plate is a plate with an alignment stick that you can adjust, and it can also get a lot longer up there. So there's loads of things you can work on with a swing plate, a great thing to have for your practice, but brilliant here for working on getting more of a pressure shift. So I have a discount code for this for 10% off. JChownGolf, type that into checkout. I've also put down a link in the description with the code to be able to get it. So what we do with this is we have this a hand's distance away from our trail leg. So if we shift weight, we're physically going to feel like we're going to hit into this. We're going to feel it straight away. So what we want to do here, we want to create a bigger gap than where we were at setup. So you can see as I'm turning back, I'm having much more of a distance of my hand between the training aid and my trail leg now. So if I get that much bigger pressure shift, I'm getting a bigger hip turn, then that's going to keep me on my center, and then I'm going to have a better chance to really nicely get that low point forward, compress that golf ball at more distance because of the more turn as well. Something that you might have seen there with my left foot. See how my left heel lifted up? Now, that's a great thing to do because that will encourage, again, the hips to turn more. If you're struggling with mobility in those hips, like I do, give you a better capability of hip turn, and it will also encourage more pressure to shift into that trail heel. So this is called unweighting the lead foot. A lot of players out on tour do it. They might do it visually like I do with lifting up the trail heel. They might do it by keeping the trail heel down as well, but there'll be very little weight in that heel, but they'll be getting it into the trail heel there. So ultimately, let's create a bigger gap. Let's turn those hips between the training aid and the body. We don't want to be bumping it. And if you want to, you can lift up that lead heel there, and that will give you just an easier time doing it. So let's hit a shot here. Be prepared for the amount of water that's going to spray up from the mat. So lots of water, yes, but struck very, very nicely. Why it was struck nicely is because I just had a way better chance of doing it, because I was more centered as I turned thanks to the pressure shift, and that just gave me a better chance to get that low point forward. And of course that ball would have been going a nice distance as well. So again, hands distance, brilliant. Let's create a bigger gap. We don't want to be bumping into it, and then let's just strike that golf ball. So guys, this is a really important thing to be able to work on the golf swing, because this just makes it far easier for yourself to hit better golf shots more consistently there. So get that pressure shift. You'll really help your game massively. Something like the swing plate as well can help tremendously to be able to train this movement in there nice and efficiently with a good feedback orientated drill. Because if you're doing a drill that doesn't have feedback, it's not worth doing. You need feedback whilst you're hitting golf balls to be able to implement a change. So if you enjoyed this video, of course, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So let's shift pressure, not weight, and you'll start hitting the golf ball a lot better.